Okay, so first of all, the schools do not appreciate that. But when it starts, it's
If
so
they
many.
if they let them motherfuckers come in there,
Listen,
they appreciate it.
listen. So at the end of the day, we're there to instruct students, right? When we're talking about dress code, you're interrupting instructional time to address dress code. So what you're doing is five, let's just say seven kids who come in and they're inappropriately dressed. You're literally having to decide, okay, which one is more important. This kid, like, because they keep doing it over and over again, repeat offenders. But guess what? They got to learn the information, right? And it makes the whole classroom go behind. You kicking out a large. It's not like one or two kids. It's a lot of them. So you're gonna stop the entire class and say, "Go home, change those clothes." You know, it became to
Yeah,
the point where teachers are now having to pick and choose their battles. Okay, and it's not even just at us, it's all across the board. And then the parents are advocating for it. Like, they are going hard, like, you can't tell my kid what to do. And they come in large numbers. It's almost like, what are we doing right now? You know, it's like we don't get paid enough for that.
but
We just
it's silly though. That narrative is
I
silly
know, I
because
get
if
it, but it starts at home. Like, your kids should not have access to that clothing at the end of the day. Who am I?
no,
I'm one person over
it's
all of these kids, and I'm not going to kill myself, stress myself out, kill myself because I'm saying I'm doing this over and over again. You're putting
but if
all that
you
stress on top of me, you
but
know.
if the school is supposed to be the leaders essentially in
You
creating
should lead your household.
no, I get that. I get that. I'm not opposing that at all. But if the schools are supposed to play a certain role in society,
Mhm.
then I think that should be the standard. If a motherfucker keep coming into school and they're dressed improperly, all right, well, we need to expel you. That's the where at what point do we set the standards? You know what I'm saying? Like
You do.
that's the biggest issue is that we don't have standards.
We
So at
don't.
what point do we set the standards and say this is what is only acceptable and anything under that is not acceptable here, and you can go wherever else the hell you want to go, you know what I'm saying, and deal with it. But here, this is not what we're doing. So if everybody is just, oh, okay, oh, well, I tried, I
I get
said,
it.
you know what I'm
So
saying, we just gonna be even in a worse position than we in now.
no, I can listen. Everything that you're saying, I'm just telling you from the other side, right? It becomes exhausting. Everything is on a teacher. What are you doing at home? How about you as a parent? Parent. Okay. So it just, I'm just giving you the other side of it. I'm not
Yeah,
saying,
no, I'm
right?
with
I
you.
do
I'm with
believe
you.
that I believe as a teacher, because there's only so much you can do as a teacher. I believe as a teacher, there should be standards to dress code. Okay. But who pays teachers? Taxpayers, right? We get paid off of tax dollars. So in essence, you're the investors into the school. And what you get is the community. Whatever is the culture is in the community is what comes into the school. At the end of the day, I'm supposed to teach you, and I can tell you why you shouldn't dress, how you brand yourself, all of those things, right? I can definitely do that. But we do need parents that we need the community to come together and do better. You know,
I agree.
your kids should know certain things before they even get to us.
I agree.
What percentage of the
But
kids?
you said what, Sweeney?
What percentage of the kids would you say dress out of pocket in school?
So my idea of out of pocket is the way I used to do. So anything outside of the way I would dress my kids is out of pocket, right? If I see, let me just clarify. If I see your stomach or your shorts are way too short, or you're sagging, I see your entire butt, that's what I can deem as inappropriate. And I would say about 51%.
Half the kids?
Half of the kids. Do you know how often in the hallway, hey, and then the girls will get a pullover and they'll zip it up, but then they'll just unzip it and take it back off? Like, it's bad, right? I told this story about, I had a girl who was supposed to be fully dressed in her, because she's Muslim, and I never saw that. And so her parents came to the school for a conference, and I saw her eyes, and I was like, what? And she was just like, Now you know.
So to Shan's point, to kind of explain something to you, Viz, you want to know the reason why, and the reality is it really does come down to funding. The kids ain't in school; they don't get money. And I got a couple of clients that are principals of schools, and that was literally what she told me. I was like, "Why don't y'all just kick the kid out of school?" And the first thing she was like, "We get paid for the kids."
That's not what my experience is. My
Oh, wait, hold on, wait. I'm just letting.
I just don't want you to put misinformation out there because that's not my experience.
So schools don't get paid for students being in having butts in the seat?
No. So what we do get judged on is our numbers, grade rates, testing.
Right.
I can't teach you at home. I can't get you to learn this information at home. So when I'm putting in if I want my test scores to be on point, my goal is to get as much information out in that time that I have you in my classroom. And I cannot do that if you're constantly not in my classroom because you're in ISS, suspension, all of these things. I remember one time I had a kid who got locked up and I went and delivered his work to a penitentiary center.
So if you suspend the population of the students that don't get good grades and it raises your test scores, are you telling me that y'all funding would go up?
What I'm saying is what I get judged on at the end of the school year, I don't know the school system. That's not my job to know the school system as a bigger picture. What I get judged on at the end of the school year is my failure rates and my test scores.
I'm not saying what the teacher gets judged on. I'm saying how the school gets its funding. How do they determine what schools get money and what schools don't?
Well, in my county, we evenly disperse the funds. That's okay. In my each county is different.
I was gonna say
each school system is different.
I was gonna say most counties go about it in that manner. And Sweeney, I already know where you're headed with it. That sounds good. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, again, when do we set the standards? You know what I'm saying? If we are only doing this because we're trying to fund the school or whatever the case may be, then the morals and values of our community thus has to be in the trash. Because if we're willing to allow for our children to go to school half naked, smelling like weed, don't listen, got their phones, so on and so forth, then who cares? Now at that point, they're not even learning nothing. They're just there just to be there and go out into society and be stupid as bricks. So you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense. Like I get it, but at some point somebody has to, you know what I'm saying, step up and create.
Right. All right. So maybe that was just so Shane, I don't know exactly where you are in the country or whatever, but she is a teacher here in Texas, and it does say here in Texas, the state gives money to schools based on their students' average daily attendance. If a student misses school, their district attendance averages goes down, and so does the amount of money that they receive. So that might be a problem unique to her.
You're not marked absent for so if you are so that goes by absences, right? So if a kid comes in, they're not marked absent for the day. So if I send you home, you already marked present. So that would even make
no. If what she's saying is if kids are not in the school, whether that's due to suspension, expulsion, accident, just being marked absent, if their kids are not in the school, they lose funding for that.
So no, because even if a kid is so this is how it works. Even if a kid is suspended, you still have to give them that instruction, right? A kid just doesn't like just disappear. Even if a kid gets out of school, you have to provide a home-based kid, because I have a home-based kid. You have to provide instruction for the kids. So that's still a number.
No, but we're having two different conversations. You're talking about how you're judged as a teacher, and I'm talking about how a school is funded.
Right.
The school is funded by butts in the seat. It's not funded by, you know what I mean? That's why I initially asked you, I said, so if if half the school was failing and the school said, okay, we're going to kick out half of those kids that are failing. We're going to suspend them, expel them, kick them out of school because they're failing. And the grades rates go up. Does the school now all of a sudden get more funding based off of that?
So this is how it works here. We have what's called an FTE, right? Meaning if a kid is absent, as long as that kid is still enrolled in your school, you get points for the kid being enrolled in your school. It doesn't go like, because a kid can get sick. That doesn't mean you lose money because a kid is out because he's battling that is not how it works. Because a kid is still enrolled in your school and you still have to provide instruction for that kid. Does that make sense? So there's a count of how many kids. Now, if you lose kids, meaning they decide to withdraw from your school or not come to your school, period, then that changes the numbers. But if a kid's just simply absent, that kid is still counted under. They're just not there that day. Because we be going back and forth. Imagine that.
That's the thing though, is that
I think we losing sight of the
Yeah,
time.
I do want to make
like, who cares about
that's why I said no.
It's
To answer a much larger question, because there's a reason why a lot of schools elect not to deal with that, and they'd rather have butts in the seats. And like I said, this is maybe just unique to Texas. I don't know if you're in Texas, Shan, so you might not all right, so you might not understand this, because that's one of the problems that they're having here, is that they rather not have. There was literally one of my friends, her kids, they don't even care about the dress code anymore. They say as long as they showing up to school, we just trying to get them to show up to school. Why?
For instructional purposes.
No, because the school, yes, for that too, but also because if the kids aren't in a classroom, they don't get paid. That's legit how it works here.
That's not what I'm doing it though.